Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Jerry Rick Podcast with your boy, Stud Muffig McRod, and his boy, Ginger Schlong. On today's episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome back to Jerry Rick Podcast.
Can I just start calling you Ginger Schlong?
Sure, I'm not going to argue with that. This week, we are sponsored by COVID-19 Going Back to School, where kids go back to school for a week and then go back home. Can't wait.
Because opening early was dumb.
Can't wait to keep doing that this week. Now, by your second sponsor, Rand, Star Fox Coffee. If you want the zing, fly the R-Wing with your...
Oh my god!
Star Fox guy. Get this guy off of me. Dual barrel roll, boys.
Oh my god. Sponsored by Margaritaville Silver Tequila.
I forgot that was in here.
It's definitely not 10 o'clock in the morning.
I wish I could say that we had that before we started, but no, this is completely sober us.
Oh my god.
Oh man! Thank you all for joining. Welcome back. We've once talked about a game or two, and other than that, it's just here we are.
Just a shit show.
Yeah, we have no idea what we're doing.
No.
Every week, it's like a new experience of, hey, Randy, how are we gonna mess this one up? How are we gonna blow it? Yes. Oh man! All right, we're back. I'm breathing again. Back.
Let me hit you with it.
Hit me.
What you been playing?
Dude, you're jumping right in. You're not giving me a chance to like recover.
You're still crying.
I am. I'm a crier. Okay, I'm a crier. What have I been playing, Randy? Well, I've been playing a couple things, bruh.
My guy.
I was gonna play the Horizon Zero Dawn PC release,
Which
and
looks fucking insane.
apparently it's not running well on most people's computers, so I'm waiting. I skipped that for a little bit. It doesn't matter anyway because we have next month. In like 3 or 4 weeks, we have Amalur coming out on PC, so I'm more excited for that, to be honest. Just because I want that to get attention. What have I been playing this week? I've been playing Three Houses again. Fire Emblem Three Houses again. Why? I listened to the soundtrack.
It was like, all right,
And now I want to play Fire Emblem. It's really incredible. That game, seriously, I was talking to your brother about it, and we were joking, but it was like... So here's how the Fire Emblem series was kind of wrapped up for us, was we both had our favorites, which his was Radiant Dawn, mine was Path of Radiance, but we both agreed that arguably the best one in the franchise, like if you were going to get someone started into the series, was Awakening, pretty much hands down. Like Fates, the Fate series was like, all three of those games were like really hit or miss depending on which game.
I know there are, Jesus Christ, there are those people out there that like, you talk about Awakening and they go, well, it didn't really do it for me. I'm like, well, what didn't do it for you? And you're like, but it's literally everything Fire Emblem, just better.
What seems like a lot of people didn't like about Awakening was that it just became a little bit more accessible. Some of the BS kind of got taken out, but if you want the BS, like you can just play it on Lunatic like I did. Like just don't be a baby. Just get good at the game and stop whining about it. But if you're someone who doesn't care about that and you just want to play Fire Emblem because you like the idea of like a story or playing like a strategy RPG, like Awakening is a genuinely incredible game. Fates is like okay. It's a great, like I said, it's a great set of it's a good set of games, but they're not incredible. And Shadows of Valentia, I just think is genuinely horrible. I absolutely hated it. But Three Houses, though, this is the thing that's interesting. Three Houses is like, if I'm being honest, is genuinely on such a different level than any other Fire Emblem game. You can't even compare them.
Which is so funny, right? Because I remember when the game was coming out, none of us thought it was going to, or the way it looked, none of us were like, this is going to be genuinely probably the best Fire Emblem game. We were like, this looks pretty good.
It looked good, yeah.
This looks pretty good.
And then you play it, and I was like, so funny enough, I had to take vacation time during that year. Because it came out in like the July or something. Yeah. And I had to take vacation time because I was going to go over my cap. So I was like, yeah, screw it, I'll take it and I'll play Fire Emblem. Because I know the campaign will be long. It'll be like a 40-hour campaign, so I'll just play through it. It's like a 60-hour campaign, which is great for me because I loved that, like how long those can be because you can just play them in like mission bursts, basically. But it's just, if I'm being honest, everything that they added, like the whole university and interaction and relationship building, kind of like out of the Persona games, the SFT games, like they cannot undo that now. It is such a great mechanic. The fact that you are now going to be like building relationships with people who you may eventually have to kill is really, really great and really hard on you, the player.
I think it was not necessarily an evolution because it's not anything new, but I think it was something like Fire Emblem needed.
Yes.
Because in the other games, you didn't like... When you built those relationships, you didn't really intend on people dying unless they died in battle, and then you reset the game.
Right.
This game, it's literally like, you make friends with people, and then you get the time skip, and it's like, oh, now I gotta kill you. Okay.
That hurts. Like, they kind of poked with it a little bit in Fates with the little, like, garrison mechanic where, like, you kind of had people walking around, kind of, sort of, not really.
Yeah.
But this is, like...
Straight up fucking...
You can genuinely build up relationships with these people, and there's a gameplay benefit to do so, which means then that now you're going to get more of their past and more of the reasons they do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to do sometimes really bad things, or they're doing something, and, like... But the biggest thing, so I don't want to go too much down Three Houses, because I've talked about it so much in the past, like, year or so. The best thing the game nailed, because it definitely has some problems. Some of the high-end master classes, the final promotions... There's not a great variety at the base game. With all the DLC out now, that is pretty much mostly solved.
Yeah.
All the new additions are great. But the biggest thing that game does is moral ambiguity. It actually treats war the way war genuinely tends to happen, which is you think you are genuinely doing the right thing, and I think I'm genuinely doing the right thing. Both of us are right, and both of us are wrong. And that's real war. It's very rare, very, very rare in war that somebody is just Satan and everybody else is God trying to redeem the world. Like, there are people in history that are like that, and there have been genuinely, like, black and white, good versus evil moments, but that's incredibly rare.
Yeah.
So the fact that there was, like, the villains, all of the villains, because there's multiple villains, and if you play through the campaign, depending on which paths you take, you won't deal with all of them. That's the other really cool thing. So, like, when your brother was playing at the same time I was, literally, he was telling me things that I didn't know, which put things that I was doing into perspective, and I was telling things he didn't know. And his ending dealt with one entire different set of problems than I did. So when I finished it, that problem that he solved is still running amok in my world, which is really cool because you can't do everything.
I think the attention to detail in Three Houses, especially this far into the series, is insane.
The fact that they seriously took Fire Emblem so far above the rest of the games is just incredible. So I've been playing that again just because it seriously is one of the best, if not the best strategy RPG like ever made at this point. It is so good, and I cannot wait for the next one if they can even do this twice.
Yeah.
I'm down. Other thing I've been playing is, like we were talking about earlier for the show, is the Shadowlands beta. Which, by the way, interesting enough, I thought this was pretty cool. Apparently you don't need a sub to actually play the Shadowlands beta. According to my buddy, one of my friends who actually got it online, he's unsubbed, hasn't been subbed in like a while, like 6 months, 7 months or something like that, and got the beta invite, and you just launch it. It's pretty neato, the fact that they're not, again, we're bringing a conversation we were having right before the show, they're not charging you to beta test. They're just letting you test, because it's good for them. But I've been playing a bit of that, and I really, really hate saying it, but this is genuinely looking really good.
I was waiting for it. I was literally... I was tempted to ask you before the show, or before we did this. I love how I call it a show, like we're like established. Yeah.
Bro, we got like 4 viewers.
Thanks, Blake. Blake 4 times.
He does, he refreshes it.
But, no, because I know you've been cautiously optimistic about some of the Shadowlands stuff, because you don't want to, like... Because it's modern WoW. You'll see one good thing about an expansion, be like, please, and then it comes out and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, they said at BlizzCon they said the right things. That was the thing. It's like, okay, you said the right stuff,
now
but you got to do it because you say the right things every BlizzCon. Well, okay, that's not true because everyone was like, we hate the way you do legendaries, and then when Legion was coming out, they're like, hey, we're gonna do legendaries like the way you hate and worse. And everyone's like, this is going to be bad out the gate. This is going to be really bad. And they're like, no. Trust us. What happened? Literally, the game launched. Everyone, worst system in the game. Like, unanimously, this is the worst system in the game. The thing is, Blizzard has, it's funny. They're a whole, the way they're talking about the game is different. The way they're approaching change and discussion is different. For example, the game director, Eden Hazakostas, who actually is the guild leader, for people who don't know, is a guild leader of the Guild of Elitist Jerks, which has been around since vanilla, actually. The server they played on, Mal'Ganis, was the server I played on. I was playing vanilla. And they are one of the best guilds in the world. In fact, this guy actually at one point said to Blizzard, before he was a developer, but he was a game player for the game, proved to Blizzard that one of the bosses at the time in the game was like mathematically impossible. So like the guy's been around quite a long.
Knows his shit.
But at the same time, he's kind of grown so detached from like the way the game actually runs now.
Yeah.
But the way he's talking about things now, like he's actually doing not interviews, but he's going on with people who he genuinely has never interviewed before and is usually dodged to interview. And instead he's opening up like these channels of like, hey, you person that I never want to interview because it's usually overly critical or whatever, do you want to just chat for an hour and talk about why we're making these design decisions? And you can criticize what I'm doing and I can explain why we're doing it, and we can come to these...
Like, who did he do it with?
Like Preach. It's like a big guy in the WoW industry, Preach Gaming. He's pretty much genuinely dodged every interview with Preach for like years. And it's pretty much accepted because Preach is one of the guys who's like the most constructively critical. He's someone who has the most like...
I definitely recognize the name.
Yeah, he's definitely around. A lot of people, I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but a lot of people were saying that he's like the new like TB of WoW, like after TB had left.
Yeah.
Basically, because TB left in Cataclysm and Preach started his channel in MoP, and there's like very similar, right down to the British accent and everything. But definitely different accent. But anyway, the point is like the way they're opening and talking about their game is different. They're so much more accepting of...
Criticism?
Yes, of something not working. Whereas before, they would be like, this doesn't work. We are going to just break it into the ground and bend it in some way so that way it isn't bad. Instead of just like, try to make it good. Yeah. And they've done genuinely things of like, we're just going to revamp this entirely. This clearly doesn't work. Let's just revamp it. They just did that with one of the classes, Shadow Priest. Unanimously bad. Like, everybody was like, this doesn't work anymore. Like, it's just not going to happen. And they were like, sorry, we're not doing any class revamps. Like, we're just not doing it. Because it takes a lot of time. Yeah. We're not doing it. People are like, this is not good. Like, this spec is so bad. Shadow Priest is so bad. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, like 3 weeks ago, completely revamped the class. They acknowledge
like
it.
A complete revamp,
completely
or just
revamped.
A couple skills.
Quite a bit. So they like half their talent system got redone. Their entire rotation and the way the abilities work got redone. Their major cooldowns is redone. The entire major like core mechanic to the system doesn't even do that thing anymore. It's totally different. So like they're going a long way. The world, everything about this Shadowlands beta so far has just been like, it's clearly beta. There's a lot of stuff that's unfinished. Like cinematics aren't in the game or whatever. It'll literally always be like
Well, isn't that stuff typically patched in at launch anyway?
Yeah, but it'll be things like you'll do a quest and you do this really big thing and you know something big comes up and then it will be a text on the screen. A really awesome in-game event would happen here. And then, and then you just like teleport to the spot that you'd end up being. It's always fun testing. And it's been a blast. Like, even the professions are like way more interesting than they've ever been. Not great, but they're better. Everything so far is just like genuinely better than BFA, definitely.
And definitely Legion.
I don't like Legion much at all. So like a lot of people really like Legion. I really don't. I didn't
know that many people like Legion.
Most people seem to like Legion. I don't like Legion because of the systems that it added that genuinely I think hurt the game long term. And we're feeling that in BFA. It's like it's so not to get too deep into the lameness of it, because this isn't a WoW podcast, obviously, but like, I hate patch 3.2 in World of Warcraft, not necessarily just because of the stuff that's there, but because of the consequences of that patch, like what it does long term. That is Legion for me. The Legion Legendary system, the Titan Forging system, the artifact system, the borrowed power system, Netherlight Crucible, all this stuff that is just really dumb randomness that you can't control. It feels like I'm playing Destiny in the wrong ways, and I'm not just trying to pick on Destiny, but like Destiny and WoW have a lot of weird crossover now in their gameplay systems. It's really strange, and I don't like it. I actually think it works more for Destiny than it does WoW, but WoW is an open world MMO RPG. Destiny is an instance-based Diablo shooter, essentially, right? Like, one of these has a world to explore. One of these is mission sets. And that's fine, but they cannot just like completely coexist necessarily in the same way. Like, their mechanics
they can't coexist together. They can coexist in their own
plane.
like
there's a point where there could be some crossover, but you've got to be careful with that. So yeah, I've been playing that. It's genuinely looking really good. I've gone from cautiously optimistic to genuinely optimistic There's a couple things I want to hear about because there's a couple systems that they just don't want to not let go, but they don't want to change for some reason, because there's like a couple systems. The Covenant system, which is like the big expansion the expansion feature, you basically you level your character, you get to max level, and then you pick a faction that you want to be a part of, and in that faction you'll get like a unique ability based on your class, and then a unique ability based on that faction. The problem becomes some of these abilities are just genuinely incredible. Like, some of them are like incredibly powerful. But some of them say, if you're an elemental shaman, they're great for elemental. But if you're resto, they're really bad for resto. So you're kind of screwed if you like want to play multiple specs that are different roles. Some of them are really great for arcane mage, but not good for fire mage, for example, even. Like, it's really frustrating. So you're going to have this problem where I could pick this Covenant because it's cool, and they have a really cool aesthetic, and I get really cool looking gear because that's what I'd want to pick it for, right? Like, I want to pick the vampire people because it's really cool. It looks like, literally, the first raid is literally Castlevania. It's awesome. It's a Castlevania raid. It's really cool. And it's all vampires and like demonic stuff and like all this blood-sucking stuff. I want to be those guys. But if the really nice weeaboo spirit, fox spirits have the best ability, for me as a raider, I got to go with the fox guys.
Yeah.
Which are bright, colorful, blue and starry, which is, I like the stars, but like, bro, I want to be the vampire guy. And if I'm going to be the vampire guy and do 10% less damage than the guy who's the fox guy, I'm going to be pissed and I'm going to dodge the vampire people. It's just going to happen. And then if they rebalance it where that ability's bad and now vampire guy's good, I'm like, fuck. Oh my goodness. So we're getting there. We're getting there. I don't want to go too much down on WoW because it's not a WoW podcast, but Shadowlands looking good. Surprisingly. I can't believe I'm saying that. They sucked for so long. Blizzard doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
No.
I don't know what that company has been. That company was genuinely like the Rareware of PC gaming. And what the hell happened?
And now they're the Activision of PC gaming,
Yeah, and
literally.
I really hate to say it was like, oh, it was Activision Blizzard, right? But it was like,
clearly these problems started at a point.
it happened. They got bought. WoW released the Old War patch right after, which would have been in development way before this. So WoW releases the Old War patch, arguably one of the best raids ever made in the game. And then, like, so StarCraft 2 came out, and StarCraft 2 was incredible. So people were like, oh, okay, cool, Activision didn't touch anything. And then Diablo 3 came out, and Diablo 3 has been bad since it started. And then WoW has gone genuinely mostly downhill since then. It's like too convenient.
Yeah.
Overwatch can't let go of loot boxes for some reason. What is happening with Immortal? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's what I've been playing. What about you?
Yeah, that's what I've been playing. How about you?
I don't want to deal with Activision.
So, first thing,
Bobby.
it's Far Cry 5. Because it was $9.
Oh.
And it was just, I mean, I kind
Does
of
that have multiplayer, right?
Yeah, that's basically why I bought it. Because Jake had it, and I've been playing with Jake, and I told myself, especially after Far Cry 4, because I genuinely do not like Far Cry 4. It is literally Far Cry 3, but bad.
It's worse in
And
every way.
everyone says, well, it's just a little bit worse. It's like, but that's not okay. And it's not a little bit worse. It's literally copy-paste with a less interesting villain. If you can do that. Like,
Yeah.
Voss is interesting. Hoyt isn't. Imagine someone less interesting than Hoyt from Far Cry 3. And that's Pagan Min from Far Cry 4.
Still, the worst thing Far Cry 3 did was spoilers. Was kill Voss that early. That makes no sense.
It was like fucking...
like maybe halfway through the game.
Yeah, it was like a little more than halfway. And then Hoyt's like, he was working for me. And you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck?
Like, piss off, bro.
So, I mean... So I stopped playing Far Cry. I didn't play Primal. I didn't play whatever that...
I was gonna buy Primal, and then when I was watching all the gameplay, it was literally every Ubisoft game in the last 10 years.
Yeah, and you were like, nope.
Like,
And I didn't play, like, Far Cry 4 had some, like, random expansion thing that I didn't play. And I remember Far Cry 5 coming out, and I didn't care. Like, I didn't care enough to buy it, but I cared enough to at least want to know things about it. And, again, it just looked like another Far Cry. It looked like every Ubisoft game up until that point. I was just like, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Like, at all. But it was on sale for $9. I said, you know what? What's the worst that happens if I don't lose? I like it. I lost $9. I mean, like,
Right.
whatever. So I bought
Chip
it.
to McDonald's.
So I can say it is, in my opinion, vastly better than 4. I think putting it in America is a good and a bad thing. Mainly because, like, the environments so far that you explore, I'm like, I don't know, probably 11, 12-ish hours into the game now. The areas you explore, like, very samey, only because it all takes place in the South. So it's woodsy, like...
Yeah, the South isn't known for its geographical landscape.
Yeah.
That's definitely true.
So I kind of would have preferred, like, maybe you start one mission in the South, like, one section of the game's in the South, and you move to, like, the Northeast, and then you move to, like, the West Coast, or, like, that would have been cool. But, I mean, like, I get it. It's all based in the South, because that's where a lot of deeply, like, rooted people live that don't like to change the way they think. And that's kind of the basis of the game, where this guy has basically created this church that follows the Bible to, like, that degree that you think of when you think of a zealot. And that's
he has stopped following the Bible and created his own code
Basically,
of law
which, like,
under God. Yeah.
that alone makes him more interesting to me than Pagan Min.
It's also because it's a real thing that happens.
Yes.
Like, people follow any ideology to an extreme.
But so far, I mean, it's fun. I mean, we finished the first section of the game. It's got all the typical shit. Thankfully, thank you. There's no watchtowers anymore.
Whoa.
Thank God.
I just don't believe you.
It's straight up no. They have these things called prepper stashes, but they don't really unlock areas of the map. They'll have maps in them, but it'll just tell you, like, you could have the map completely uncovered, but it'll tell you where, like, extra little things are when you pick up the map in those rooms.
Okay.
And each one's kind of like, I actually kind of like, because the towers, it's like, what's the most you got out of them? Sometimes it was a jumping puzzle, maybe. Exactly.
Yeah.
The prepper stashes
What you got was the fog of war got cleared
Like-
on the map.
perfect example. Me and Jake just did one. It's the stash is in a locked building up here on a hill. There's a river, and then there's a zip line that goes over to a little shack across the road.
Okay.
And you take the zip line and you look, and there's a window you can shoot out, and you shoot the window out, and you can see into the building where the control panel is for the door, and you shoot the door.
Oh, okay.
And it unlocks.
That's neat.
It's not crazy
No.
in-depth puzzles, but it's at least enough to, like, keep you, like, you get there and, like, all right, how do I open this one? And you're like, okay, like the first one you do is, I think, so far the most interesting, because it takes you to this boat dock, and the stash is underground and it's full of water. So you swim around, go underneath the dock, and then you end up in the building, and there's a valve that you have to turn on, and it drains all the water out of the stash, and then you unlock it, and you can go down and loot all the shit out of it. So, like, I mean, they're not, like, crazy in depth.
At least you're thinking.
Yeah. But so far, it's still got, like, the same Far Cry problems. Like, so remember how in Far Cry 3, like, gun customization was actually super beneficial?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how in-depth gun customization in this game goes? You could put a silencer on and paint it.
Why is that? Like, if we're gonna take the RPG mechanics, like if we're gonna go RPG with games, why is it that we are, like, undoing this?
Like,
this is a common trend, not just in, like,
that was probably my favorite part of Far Cry 3 was killing the animals, skinning them, making new ammo pouches, and, you know, being able... Like, come on, tell me it wasn't the coolest thing ever when you get the shotgun with the dragon breath rounds.
Yeah.
And you literally walk into an outpost, just boom, boom, and everyone's on fire. Like,
Dude,
you can't do that in Far
genuinely,
Cry 5.
I loved Far Cry 2. Really loved it. That game is not open world, but it's a world-based shooter.
Yeah.
It's very much of an RPG. Far Cry 3 really decided to go down the RPG route, I think, for the best.
But, like, I don't know. You can tell that they took the dumbed down customization shit from, like, 4 and Primal and made that the basis. Because you can kind of tell the way they designed it, they want you to focus more on the gameplay. It's like, yeah, but I want things that impact my gameplay.
Right.
I
That's
want
the
things
thing.
that, like, you can get a bigger magazine, and you can get, like, and not even that, like, to get bigger magazines, it's a skill point in the skill tree. Like, you can't even build a bigger magazine for your gun.
That's boring. That's so
Like,
boring.
It's little things like that I'm just kind of like, I mean, like, whatever.
That's old. I wouldn't even say that wasn't acceptable ever.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's fun.
Now, or you go down the route of, like, Deus Ex, where just, like, everything is a talent, and then in which case, like, that whole system shapes your gameplay, like, to a severe...
So, like,
severe way.
there are things about Far Cry 5 that I'm genuinely like, man, this is not good. But then you have moments where you have a mission where you have to go take back some lady's dead dad's big rig, and then you find out the big rig has miniguns on it, and then the mission to drive it back to the outpost is fucking you driving down the fucking road, shooting miniguns at fucking tanker trucks that blow up, and driving through barricades and hitting bears on the side of the road, and then shoot. Like, that's the shit I just commit to that.
Yeah, Far Cry's kind of nutty.
Like,
Definitely.
commit to that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, overall, it's okay.
Have they shown anything on the gameplay of 6?
Nope.
They showed the trailer.
Just the
right?
trailer,
I don't
and
really
everyone
care.
freaked out, and I was like, yeah, cool, it's cinematic.
There's a 6 game. Yeah, we all knew that.
But I've been playing
I love it when we get those trailers.
I mean, so far it's fun. I like it more than 4. So I mean, like, I guess that says something. But
Dude,
I mean,
we should.
I think the problem is if I wasn't playing with Jake, I probably would have stopped by now.
Yeah, multiplayer can like kind of carry a lot of the weaknesses of a game.
But it's also because like Jake's just fucking fun to play with.
He's a dope. He's such a dope.
The other thing is Battlefront 2.
Yep.
I
saw you guys playing that quite a bit.
It's $10 on Origin right now, and talk about a game, right? Now this isn't to excuse the things Battlefront 2 did. Like, straight up, EA fucked it up. Straight up, right out the gate, and didn't fix it for like a year and a half.
Long time.
It's amazing to play Battlefront 2 now and know what it was like 3 or 4 years ago when it launched.
Right.
So
it's a beautiful redemption story.
yeah, so like the loot boxes exist, but they don't like do anything.
Yeah.
It's like the loot box exists for when you unlock something for your gun. It's just an avenue for you to go and click on the loot box and it tells you unlocked the thing.
Right.
It's about it. I mean, you can pay for like cosmetics and they'll come in the loot boxes, but like that's such a non-issue to me because you can earn battle points playing co-op missions so fast it doesn't matter. But wow, it's a lot of fun. It's seriously a lot of fun. I just bought it this week and it's like I've got like 12, 13 hours into it already, and that's just doing co-op missions.
That's awesome.
The only thing about co-op missions is it makes me want Galactic Conquest.
Yeah, I don't know why this is not a thing. By the way, remember when the demo? I'm not calling it a beta, but when the the preview weekend came out, and we were saying like, there's one thing left to this that would solve the problem forever.
Galactic Conquest.
Yes, and they were adamant. No, you don't need it. No, you won't need it.
Yes, we do, though.
It is so good. Okay, name me somebody who played the original Battlefront 2. Name me somebody
who didn't play Galactic
Conquest. Yeah, like every time I talk to anybody about Battlefront 2, literally somebody would be a random stranger, and somehow Battlefront 2 comes up. Oh, yeah, I was doing Galactic Conquest. It's like, yes, because everybody was. It's the greatest game mode they ever came up with.
I'd say, like, the co-op missions, it splits them off into, like, the different sections and years of the game. So it's like you can play the First Order, the Separatists, the Rebels, the blah, blah, blah. You know, Star Wars.
Right, the Dolphins.
But it's fun. It's like, it's close enough to Galactic Conquest to give you the satisfaction of it's capturing points, it's... You know, it's unlocking heroes, it's buying heroes, it's...
Right.
But you just want that actual conquest. You want to feel... The problem is...
You want to feel like you're taking over the galaxy.
Yeah, the problem is when you lose a co-op mission, you don't feel like you actually lost because no one moves into your territory for you to take it back.
Right.
But it's super fun. Me, Jake, and Kyle have a fucking blast playing it.
It's because the gameplay is just solid. To be fair, I don't think anybody ever complained about the gameplay at launch. Yeah, that was never the problem. The problem was the lack of content that there was and the business model.
But it's...
How long... When did that game come out? 17?
2017? Because the first one came out in 2015 or 14?
Yeah, November 2017. It is still so strange, though, that it took them, like, practically a year and a half, like you said, actually.
To move away from the shitty business
to solve
models.
the problems.
Yeah.
It was really strange.
But... Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And we haven't even, like, jumped into, like, the multiplayer queues. We literally just log in and we play co-op missions. It's a lot of fun.
It's a fun game to play. It's got, like, a very addicting gameplay loop.
And I love Jake to death. But it's funny. The first, like, 2 days we played, like, the first day we played, he was like, I want to play the Republic because he likes playing the clones. Because he's the only person on the planet that I know that likes Attack of the Clones. Sorry, Jake.
Wait, the movie?
Yeah, because he likes the clones.
Oh, no.
Did you not know that?
No.
Really?
I think as time goes on, that might actually be the worst Star Wars movie.
Easy. 100%.
Like, Phantom Menace is at least so bad it's funny and good.
And at least it's got the Darth Maul part.
Yeah, which to be fair is better than the Yoda part, because that Yoda part is like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, done. And you're like, oh, sweet. Well, that part was cool.
Fuck.
Oh, man.
But-
wait, I can't believe I know someone who likes Attack of the Clones. Those people are real.
Like they're the people that live under the bridge.
No, you're real.
But like
a little troll.
But like, he wants to play the clones, which is fine. I don't mind playing clones.
Yeah, I'd love to play Jango Fett clone or whatever, whichever it was, over and over and over again in different suits.
But and then the second day we were playing, and I like unknowingly queued up for the clones, and then like a couple matches in, I'm like, why are we still playing the clones? And I'm like, and I like exited out. I go to the queue, and I only had the one queued up, and I'm like, no. And I like clicked out of it, and I clicked play any, and then we got I think we got the Separatists, and Jake's like, whoa, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, we're trying something different, Jake.
Jeez. Let go of the clones.
But it's a super amount of fun, and I'm pretty sure it's still on sale for $10. So if people seriously like want to play it, like it's like the Far Cry thing. If you don't like it, it was $10.
Right.
Like that,
Not a problem.
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun.
I'm glad it got turned around.
I'm literally filling my time right now until Amalur comes out. That's my life right now.
It's close.
I'm trying to satiate my gamer needs to fucking hold out for Amalur because I know.
Hold out for like a 10-year-old game.
Well.
Good game though.
Fucking.
All right, Randy. Let's do a couple Spitfire things real quick, and then we'll get to the big one. So first, Fall Guys is just a thing.
Fall Guys is like the fucking. So here's the thing. Here's how I describe Fall Guys. Imagine if Jackbox TV had a baby with Mario Kart, and then had an illegitimate child with Mario Party, but then they became a family.
Oh, I'm gonna take it a step further, and then also had an affair with Ninja Warrior. Or like, what was it? What was the really dumb?
Oh,
Is it MXC?
I think so.
The two guys with the really crazy looking shirts.
Riley would know it.
They were always doing the really stupid stuff fall into the water.
I think it was MXC. Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
That's,
Yeah, MXC. Yeah.
It's like that. It's like it is such a. I've not played it, but I love watching people.
It's
play
the best battle royale out.
I don't. Yeah. Not a battle royale. You know what this is? This is seriously that time when everything was an RPG.
Yeah.
Everything for a while was an RPG. It was like, oh, what is Far Cry 3? Oh, it's an RPG. Well, yeah, but it's also a shooter, which is like predominantly what it is. But like, everything got mislabeled. Or MOBA. Everything was a MOBA. Or everything was an MMO. Let's be real. Destiny itself marketed it itself as an MMO. Bro, Luke Smith, who is a Scarab Lord in WoW, called it an MMO.
You're never going to let go of that Scarab Lord thing, are
Well,
you?
to be fair, I have to give the man some respect. Being an OG Scarab Lord's a pretty big deal. But the thing is, this guy played an MMO, like the biggest MMO ever made, and he called Destiny an MMO. Fuck off. That game is not an MMO. Not at all. That is a mission-based multiplayer game. Let's be real with ourselves here. But anyway, no, but like people calling it a battle royale, it is nothing like a battle royale. I mean, I guess in the most vague term, there are a lot of people when you try to win. Wow, if that's our definition of battle royale, we have a lot more battle royales than I ever thought.
Yeah, like...
Man, COD 4, and a lot of people in that map.
Battle royale.
And someone's trying to win. No, it's a game show. It's
Yeah, straight
genuinely
up.
like a multiplayer game show.
Straight up.
It looks
so fun.
The beauty of that game, I got to give this credit. I've not played it at all, and I don't know if I ever really will. It looks cool, but I don't know if
it looks like one of those things. Like if we were all super drunk,
yes,
and we all had on Steam, we're like, guys, guys, yeah, the Fall Guys, just play it. Like that's
$20, okay.
Actually, credit to Sony. I mean, it's credit to Sony, and obviously credit to the Fall Guy developers because they had to approve it. Dude, the first week Fall Guys was out, it was free on PlayStation
I think
Plus.
it still is, isn't it?
I think so. It's like free for the month. It's launch month. It's free.
Well, it's because it has an in-game microtransaction shop. Like it's got like the battle pass kind of style microtransactions. So that's where they're going to make all their money.
Yeah, but I think
To be fair, I actually think the game should be free. I think $20 on the PC, and then you also have that much of an in-game shop is just kind of stupid. It's like if Guild Wars 2 also had a sub fee. Right? It's like Guild Wars 2 has a pretty expansive shop with a lot of stuff that doesn't affect gameplay at all.
Yeah.
Which is fine because it doesn't have a sub fee and it doesn't interact gameplay. So there's no pay to win or anything. It'd be like if WoW had their current shop and a sub fee. It'd be like that. That would be fucking stupid.
Dude, that felt so genuine.
It is so dumb. People defend it.
How dare they?
No, it's bad. It's like the worst MMO thing on the market. It's worse than Arcade.
One thing, I think my favorite thing about Fall Guys, right, is when a game like Fall Guys comes out, like let's not the same type of game. Let's look at like when the first Jackbox Party Pack came out and had all those stupid fucking games in it.
You can just
and everybody was playing it.
Yeah.
Like it was just there was something cool about literally watching a community of gamers literally just not care about anything else other than saying dumb shit and hoping just everyone laughs.
Around. The thing that's really fun about it is the thing I was going to say earlier was so I've not played it, but I've watched it, and even just as the viewer, when someone drops into the map or whatever, you know the rules of that map in like seconds.
Yeah, you look at the map and you go, oh, okay.
You know the goal. You know what you're doing. You know what's going to happen. Like when you get dropped into a thing and you see a wall of doors and the goal is to get to the end, you know what's happening with those doors. And it's really fun because you get to watch people make these like really cool split decisions of like, do I let that person go through the door? And maybe it is the right door, and then I'm a little bit behind, or do I not commit to that door because it could be a fake one, and then in which case I bought myself a little bit of time against those guys to dodge this one now. Like, there's a lot of these like little moments, and it looks just chaos. That's the best part. It looks like chaos.
It looks like so much fun.
It looks like a game where losing can be fun. Because you get to just sabotage.
It's also super quick to just jump back into it. Like, you lose, you go back to the menu, you hit play, and you're basically in another game.
Yeah, there's a, I don't know what I don't know what it's actually called, or if there's a real term for it, if it really is just respawn time, whatever. But I've always referred to it, I know you've heard me say it, like the Super Meat Boy syndrome. The reason Super Meat Boy platforming could be as hard as it was, but still as satisfying as it was, is when you die, there's no, like, death, oh, mamma mia, and then, like, loading time, and then respawn time. No, it's literally death, and you're in every time instantly. It's within literally half a second though, but you never have to stop. You're never stopping. The stopping you're having is that half a second it's taking for you to pop into the start of the level and you going like, shit, oh, okay. But because of that, you just get to do it again, get better, do it again, and it never stops the loop, with the flow. It's really impressive. And Fall Guys being able to have like also the fact, okay, so Fall Guys, if we're going to call it a Battle Royale, let's humor that for a second. If we're going to call it a Battle Royale, it is easily the best Battle Royale because there's actually something happening all the time. Holy cow! You want to get me into to explain why I hate Battle Royale so damn much?
Too much standing around.
90% of the time, you're not playing a game. You're walking around trying to find boxes to enjoy the game for like a minute, and then you die, and then you'll literally like, okay, well now I gotta wait another 5 minutes to find a game.
So the only thing,
and there's no other outside really dumb miscellaneous extra like mechanics. I know a lot of people love it, but the building mechanic to Fortnite is just really boring. Like, it's gotten to a point now where you watch how people use it, and it's like 1 in a million times someone will do something clever with it. Outside that, it's just like,
well, Chaz, that's only your opinion because you suck at Battle Royales. That's gotta be it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like my second game in Fortnite, I won, so I don't know about that. Like, it's just it's just from like yeah, sure. Some people really like the building mechanic. Like, I'm not going to deny that. But if I'm being real, what does that building mechanic actually add to the game? Right? Like, genuinely.
Not much.
It like adds a level of complexity that I guess exists if you're somebody who's like, you know what it is? You know what bothers me? There's no counter to the mechanic. In a game that's literally built around trying to conquer people, there's no counter to the mechanic.
The counter is you could shoot the thing and break it, but the thing is, they can rebuild something just as fast. Faster,
basically. Like, the building mechanic is so extreme that when you watch people do it, it's just like, to be honest, remember that Fortnite tournament thing? It was like really big. They had a couple of them, but the first one, initially that was happening at like E3 with Ninja. It was like a big deal.
Yeah.
And I was watching that tournament. My God, that was the most boring thing to watch ever, because now there's suddenly like $1 million on the line. Everybody just bunkered. great. Really great gameplay. And that's unfortunately most BRs, is nothing happens for like 90% of the time. Fall Guys, if we're going to call it a battle royale, then it is the best battle royale ever made so far because it actually has something happen the majority of the time. I think the game that nailed the balance the best so far is probably Apex. I feel like that map is like just the right size and there's so much mobility in that game that you can create action when there's none.
Yeah.
But even then, it's...
I mean, I'd say Warzone's probably up there, but even then,
Warzone... Okay, if I'm being honest, Warzone is actually probably the best battle royale ever made so far. Like, genuinely. I've not played it yet, but I've watched a lot of it. And
it is fun. But again, battle royales only hold my attention for so long. Like, I loved Fortnite when I first played it in 2017. I put it on my fucking favorite games of 2017 list when we did that video.
Yep.
And like, I mean, I still like it, but I don't have a desire to play it because it's like, I've done it.
Yeah, like if I'm going to be honest.
And then Apex. I loved Apex when I first played it. I've done it. I loved Warzone when I first played it. I've done it. Like,
I don't know how people make them last, but I'm envious. But yeah,
I have a buddy at work who absolutely loves, like, daily plays PUBG.
I believe it.
Every fucking day.
I believe it.
And man, he showed me a video the other day, and I was like, holy shit, they actually added textures to rocks.
There's graphics. You know what would be interesting? I almost wonder how much and this is a complete speculation. There's a pretty big resurgence right now with MMOs, with specifically Pantheon and Ashes of Creation.
Ashes of Creation looks so good.
Ashes of Creation right now is getting insane publicity. You have some of the biggest streamers on the platform now interviewing their creative director. You have the most recent one was, I think, Tim the Tatman. Just did an interview with him. Asmongold.
Tim.
Yeah, right.
Love you, buddy.
Asmongold just did stuff. He's been covering it now a lot for the last week. Summit 1G now is getting big into MMOs again. He's just playing ESO. He's been playing Guild Wars 2. And he's looking forward to Ashes of Creation. Like, those are just three of like really large people in the industry. Talking about a genre that was presumed dead outside WoW, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited because what the thing is, a lot of these people, when they're talking about the things that they want, like they want this game. They want a world they can just escape to and do that thing. Like PUBG, they can play in this world hundreds of hours a week if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And a Battle Royale solves that problem with that MMOs had, which was that they made something that you could just like jump into and play. If an MMO can do that and also create this longevity of like a ever-changing world, I think you're going to be able to have like that be the dominant genre in the industry again.
Yeah.
I think it will happen. So it's just a speculation, but it could be. It could be really interesting. But anyway, Fall Guys looking really good. Happy that they're doing well.
It looks hilarious.
Not a battle royale. Or it is in the vaguest of senses. Halo Infinite delayed.
So here's my thing with the Halo Infinite delay, right?
Yep.
So you read the statement, right? You read that big statement? Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's the thing. They said we're delaying it due to the ramifications of COVID-19.
Yeah.
You are so full of shit.
You think so?
Absolutely. They 100% planned to release that with the release of the Series X. I could probably guarantee that.
Oh, they were hoping so, definitely, yeah.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I guarantee also the reason that got delayed is because they showed it at the Xbox conference and everyone went, bro, your game isn't even close to done.
Yeah, but why is that?
Why is what?
Why is it not close to done?
It just like okay,
that's probably COVID. Because like let's be real, every major game this year is getting delayed.
I think my only issue with the Halo thing is the Halo, like I even said it. I liked the Halo trailer because it felt more like Halo. Like everything
absolutely.
Looked more like Halo. It looked like it played more like Halo.
Absolutely.
But it also looked like crap. Like there was all the texture pop-ins and everything didn't look great.
But that's also a consequence of just showing early access gameplay. Because like if we're 6 months out or 4 months out even, like we're showing off probably late alpha, early beta gameplay, which is also like a possibility. However, they did mention originally they were gonna do it in parts.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have been that crazy about it.
This is one of the problems that I do feel bad for game developers right now this year is there are some companies who figured out a way to handle remote work, like mass remote work really effectively, and others didn't. I have a feeling this team just didn't get it as well.
My only caveat to that is how much of this was remote work and how much of this has been they've actually been able to be in the office working on this. Because they've had to have been working on this game since Halo 5 came out. in 2016.
Yeah, but there's a lot of pre-production that goes into that. Like there's a lot of like you're not like you don't just open out coding, right?
No,
like,
yeah.
Like typically that doesn't happen at the earliest, like 6 months into a project, like maybe. And that's usually like engine work.
Yeah.
But if I'm being real, I mean, there's just too many games that have been delayed that I just wouldn't be surprised if COVID really was the driving factor.
Do I think it's probably
Or
part
even if they said we're delaying it because it's not up to snuff that we'd like it to be, and clearly you think so too. Like, what I think genuinely, this hurts the Xbox Series X launch. That is a guarantee.
It might. I didn't watch a video. I'll try to find it and send it to you later. Someone made a video. And the headline was like, why the Halo Infinite delay benefits the Series X launch. And
is it just because people aren't going to buy the other versions of the game?
I'm trying to remember. I didn't watch the video, but I was reading some of the comments in the video, and it was basically, I'm assuming the gist of the video, if I can find it, I'll try to send it to you later. The gist of the video sounds like he's literally talking about all these games that are launching on Series X that I think he's assuming Halo would have overshadowed, which, I mean, is a fairly bold claim because Halo doesn't really have the staying power that it used to.
No, but it still has power.
No, it 100% does.
Yeah, like let's be real. Let's just genuinely be honest. Xbox launches with Halo is better than Xbox launches without Halo.
Yes.
Like as far as
Straight
sales,
up.
raw sales, raw people amount of people who buy the console for this game, people will buy Halo more than most other games.
Yeah.
Let's be real, especially if the gameplay they show looks like the older Halo they wanted.
Yeah.
Which this one does, genuinely.
But
outside the grappling hook, maybe, which is kind of a neato thing, but I'm saying
literally the only
that's
thing
like,
I'm gonna do with it is what he did in the video. I'm gonna pick up explosive barrels and fucking.
Yeah.
That's about it.
But like that's I don't really know where I'd have to watch that because I'm not sure what arguments you could make that like benefit it. Now if they're talking like benefit it from a gamer perspective, like yes, I could see you take this one big monolith AAA title and put it to the side so you can enjoy all these other ones.
Yeah.
That one I get, but at the same time, even that doesn't go that far because you could just play them anyway.
I think long term it's gonna hurt. I'm curious to see how much. I don't think it's gonna hurt like a fuck ton, but it's definitely gonna hurt the Series X launch without Halo.
Like let's be real. Let's just genuinely be real here. The Switch launching without Breath of the Wild.
What'd you have? Bomberman 1-2 Switch.
Doesn't matter what you had, right?
You didn't have shit.
It wasn't Zelda or Mario. And to be fair, Zelda is now outselling Mario. Breath of the Wild is outselling Mario Odyssey, which is the first time that's ever happened.
Yep.
Zelda always gets just beaten by Mario. Mario just is a larger dominating force. Zelda is now beating Mario because Zelda now there's more like, I hate the term, but like now there's more gamers like in the world, right? Like people who actually enjoy the.
You said that, and I'll be honest, it hurt me a little inside.
That word is just actually becoming so cringy. Like the way people say it,
I don't
is just
like
like really
that
cringy.
I don't like that the word gamer turned into a trope.
It's like so
again.
It
literally turned into a trope again.
It's so blanket. Like you don't call someone like no one says sports fan, right?
You just say I like sports.
Yeah.
Like the N. I like sports.
I play football recreationally. Oh, you're an athlite?
No.
I play football recreationally.
I play football with my other fat friends.
Yeah. Because we can't actually play football.
For real.
But anyway, yeah, like there are more people who are interested in the hobby as a whole, like massively. So Zelda now being a more core game is more appealing. So the Switch launching without Zelda, even if you were to put Odyssey in place of Breath of the Wild, wouldn't have done as well. Just straight up, we know that the view, like the sales are there. I don't think that Xbox. I think this hurts Microsoft more than anything.
Yeah,
definitely. Why it's delayed and why all the intricacies and details of it could be debated, but unfortunately, this is going to hurt Xbox even to a degree. Sony,
I'm hoping the delay isn't like super long. I know they said 2021.
I'm going to say probably like spring. I'm willing to bet if it was planned to come out in November and they're like a couple months behind, let's give them 5 and we say February, March.
Yeah,
more than likely. The thing is that's good for them is I don't know what Sony has as an exclusive alternative.
I think the only thing
Miles Morales.
I think the only thing that would benefit Sony more than Microsoft right now is if Horizon 2 launched with the PS5.
Yes, it was a launch. That would be huge. Yes. It's not going to be.
Think
it's
that's
not
going to happen.
No, they would have said something by now. They would have said 2020. Because like what? Yeah, what?
Well, they also would have said prices by now.
What? Oh my gosh. What exclusive PS4 exclusive? I mean, is like the big one, like their big seller.
I guess God of War right now. God of War and Uncharted, but even then, Uncharted's basically done.
No, I mean, I'm talking like coming out for PS5. I mean,
Oh, coming out for PS5.
I don't think there is one.
I
I think it is Miles Morales,
Yeah,
and
I
I
think
don't know if that's been confirmed to be launch.
Yeah, because they didn't confirm a new God of War. They confirmed Horizon, but that's
We
not
don't know
gonna
when
launch.
it's coming. Yeah, we got. You said Uncharted is not there. There's not like a new big Square game coming out at launch. If it was like the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, maybe. There's no new Persona coming out.
What a fucking move that would have been, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm looking at. There's no new Red Dead. That wouldn't have mattered anyway. That's not exclusive. There's no new like Sony exclusive From Souls or From Software game.
I don't think Ratchet and Clank's launching with the PS5.
I don't think so either. So the thing is, at least for Microsoft, Sony has no competitor,
Yeah.
which is just Sony's time to try to see if they can make one happen. So outside that, they're completely random, but I just want to talk about it. Beat Saber's getting more music and more stuff coming because Beat Saber's fucking awesome.
Yeah, because you have your VR set up, right? Oh, you do.
I have the sensors up, yeah. Wow, you look foolish.
Why is that one in that? Oh, because the desk was set up differently in here.
No, but it's also just because they want to be opposite sides of the room.
Oh.
You want to be on opposite corners, yeah. Beat Saber's great. That is
So
one of the best
fun.
games I've ever played in my life.
It's
Seriously.
seriously so fun.
And one last thing, EA tried to get themselves some big money.
Big dollars.
Let's just read some of these, by the way. So if you don't know, what ended up happening was the EA executives went before their shareholders and were trying to basically bargain and negotiate for pay raises, which is something that people do anyway. And if you don't, you should do it because unless you're basically unionized and you have a locked contract, one of the biggest reasons people get underpaid is because they don't negotiate for higher pay raises. It's a very well-known statistic. Very well-known.
I fought for mine.
Yes, and you got it. And you got to keep your shit. You got to get the shift you wanted and keep a differential. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do it. You have. It's annoying sometimes, but it's worth it in the end. But genuinely, people get underpaid because they don't fight for it. Because let's be real, if you're the company as well, and you need to, not that every company is like blind to like human emotion, right? But like people tend to think, like, oh, it's a company, they're there to make money. At the cost of the people making them the money, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there's a balance there to be had. People who say that are fucking stupid. But like, the thing is, a company though will try to make you happy while also being able to keep money to the side for other things as well. Yeah. So if you fight for that though, and they have to give it to you because you're valuable, make yourself valuable, and then problem solved. Anyway, so here's what happened. So they proposed, Andrew Wilson, this current CEO, was going to get, or they proposed a $21.37 million total compensation salary, or total compensation package, up from $18 million.
Wow.
They also,
wow. Okay, so right off the bat, right? So what is that as far as a percentage jump?
well, it's $3 million.
Like, that's... Wow.
15%.
Okay, so let's think about that,
We're
right?
closer to 14, but yeah.
So let's think about that, right? These guys are already making insane amounts of money, and now they're negotiating for 14% salary increase?
That's huge. That's a huge increase.
That's insane.
That's a huge increase. You know what the average raise increase is? It's usually like less than 1%.
Yeah,
Or it's like 1%.
Yeah.
Like on average. Now, so here's where it gets a little muddy, and I don't necessarily want to go into like the social issue of it, because I think it's a whole separate topic, and just one that like we'd have to dedicate like hours to in itself. The thing is though, at what point, or the question I should suppose, at what point does your skill set dictate the severity of your raise?
Yeah.
And because 14% is unheard of. Like, that's a promotion.
Yeah.
That's actually a big
That's
promotion.
like moving from...
Actually, let me just look at mine. What was mine when I got my promotion? Yeah, mine was a 17% increase.
I didn't even know you got a promotion.
That was the one I got like a couple years ago.
Oh.
When I got put up to that, because that was when I was trying to leave. And they counted me with a promotion. So I got a 17% increase. He's getting arguing a 14% increase for, let's genuinely be honest, he's not going to do more work because like he's probably stretched thin as it is. Like, as a human being,
that's
as
like
a CEO
art
of
director
one
moving
of
to game director. Like, that's...
Yeah, that's huge. Like, the thing is, you are Andrew Wilson, regardless of what people think about the guy, that man is probably working pretty much every day, probably 12 to 13 hours a day, and making an insane amount of money.
$18 million worth.
That's a lot of fucking money. So anyway, so that's him. Other executives, the CFO, Blake Jorgensen. This is the guy, by the way, This is the big one. This is the guy they hired. I think it was from Netflix. They hired him and they gave him
somebody from Netflix.
I think he was like an old CEO of Netflix or not CEO. Sorry, a sole financial advisor or some money for Netflix. Anyway, when the guy got hired, they gave him like a $20 million sign-on package or something obnoxious.
Holy fuck!
Like it was huge. It was a big deal at the time. So anyway, he is going up from a 9.41 million total package. The proposal was, ready for this? 19.5 million. Over double.
Oh my god.
The chief studios officer, Laura Miele, was going to go from, you ready for more? 6.95 million to 16 million. And the CTO, Kenneth Moss, was going to go from 6.95 million to 14 million. This was the proposal.
Wow.
If I'm being honest, I have a couple thoughts of what this is. My first thought is this is a bunch of really rich people who were just being greedy and were proposing something fucking obnoxious. That's my first bet.
That was my initial thought.
The second gut reaction that I have is they know what they're doing here. They're purposely trying to get all of their salaries roughly, or not salaries, but total compensation packages, because it is a little bit different because it includes bonuses and whatnot. It's not just salary. It's got to be bonuses because bonuses get taxed differently, which is why they always make more money in bonuses. Which, to be fair, if you're financially in that, you're smart, but it's annoying at the same time. Irregardless, the second option is that they're all trying to get their salaries, their total compensation packages, in a rough round number in order to and knowingly get rejected. Like they said, they're shooting high, so high for the proposal, because if someone accepts, then wow, they shot way so high and they get it, or they purposely get rejected to bring to now set the high so high that the low can come up. So like when they're going to negotiate it now, instead of going from 6.95 million maybe to 8 million, which is still pretty massive, still a 10% increase, basically. If you're going to go from that, you're now no longer going to be starting at 8 million. You're probably going to be looking closer to 10. That's my other thought. Anyway, this proposal went through and massively rejected.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, by the shareholders. 74% of the company's voting shares rejected the plan.
Who are the fucking 26 others that are like, no, it's good.
So, yeah, I have no clue. That is a really interesting thing. I know that you mention it, because those are some pretty insane numbers.
That's wild.
And keep in mind, by the way, this is a problem. There's a well-known issue right now within the game industry that people are getting underpaid massively.
Yeah. Developers
Massively.
especially.
Yes. And this is actually happening pretty big right now publicly with Blizzard.
And ironically, Red Dead. The Red Dead staff.
Yes.
And what was the other one? What was the other one last year? Fuck. There was one other AAA game that we said something about. People were getting underpaid and overworked.
The Last of Us 2? Because that was crunch and underpaid.
Yes.
Yeah. So Naughty Dog in general, they've been doing that, unfortunately, for like a decade.
Yeah, which is sad.
Really frustrating. So the people in the game, I've actually made this joke. I think I've told you this. So off stream, and I was talking to Randy about this before. I had said, remember, I was like, I want to go into the education industry because I'm going to take the cut and pay, but it's something that I'm passionate about. But if I was going to go as a programmer anywhere, it wouldn't be the game industry.
No.
I was coming out of college. I knew that. I will dodge that game industry. I would kill to work in the game industry. I love video games so much. I will never want to work in that industry in the current conditions.
I'd love to be like an art director. I love that
Dude,
shit.
but right now, especially if you're a programmer, but if you're anybody, basically, if you're a programmer, you genuinely make like 40 grand, 38 grand entry level right now. If you're in like any other industry, you're making like 50 easy.
It's less than what I make.
Yeah, you're making like 50 easy. And that, by the way, that's also a fucking bachelor's degree under your belt. And you're making in the 30 grand sometime. That is absurd. But
people always say, well, if it's your passion, then money's not a thing. It is. You still got to feed myself.
You still got to pay the rent, dude. Yeah, and your student loans that you now have 4 years worth of debt on.
Like people nowadays, right? I say nowadays. I didn't mean to sound like that guy. But
you're the boomer.
But like, people sound like this nowadays, where it's like people almost don't understand. Like we joke about it all the time. Me and you say it all the time, oh, being an adult sucks. But it's because like sometimes it does. Like
it can.
I would love to go spend all this money I make at work. I got my house, I got my dogs, there's shit I gotta pay for. And it's like, if you're coming out of 4, 5, 6 years of college going to be a game developer and you're making less than before you went into college, that's fucking sick.
And you have to do it because you need the experience to put on the resume to get up there anyway.
That's a whole completely different issue that I would love to go down at some point. I hate the whole fucking, you graduate college, well, we can't hire you because you need experience.
Sweet.
Bruh, give me the experience.
Sweet. Yeah, a lot of these people are coming out with $100,000 worth of debt minimum. Like, a lot of people are coming out with really high debt. That's really, really, really problematic. But like, the fact of the matter is, so when you're, sorry, anyway, the point I'm making, those people, when they get their raises and whatnot, they're sometimes like 1%.
Yeah.
Right? 1%, 2%. I would be really curious to see what Andrew Wilson, or specifically what Blake Jorgensen are doing to genuinely argue for over double pay increase. That's
ridiculous.
Unheard of. You don't do that unless you have the power to give yourself that.
Here's the thing. If you're so inclined to be the CFO, the chief financial officer, right? And you also feel the need to, in your free time, work on the floor with game developers for whatever reason. Let's say you're just doing it to help out. And you can say that I also do this. Then maybe you'll get a bigger increase. But you're not getting double pay. Are you fucking kidding me? You're already making fucking $8 million a year.
Well, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, genuinely, you pretty much, you will never in your life negotiate double your salary. Ever.
Exactly.
Unless you are in the position to give yourself that power, that bonus, literally. That's it. So anyway, that's what that happened. People are really confused by it, myself included. What a weird thing to do, except they know what they're doing.
Oh, they 100%
they're going to get
100% know.
Like I said, the first one is either they're overreaching because they're stupid, or their second one is more likely they're shooting high on the proposal to be able to now make the low higher.
Yeah.
Anyway, last thing. We're an hour in, Randy. We're longer than this than we thought, buddy. We're doing good. The last thing we want to talk about, the big one this week. Epic is suing Apple and Google.
All right, let's just say that again.
Epic Games
is suing Apple and Google.
So
the two highest paid tech companies on the planet outside of maybe Amazon.
Oh, Amazon is the biggest, yeah.
And Epic. Okay, all right.
Amazon's not a tech company, though. They're a retailer.
Yeah, but I mean, they've started to dip their toe. I only say tech because they've dipped their toes into like the Amazon gaming stuff and all that tech shit. But
so to give this a little bit of perspective, we'll go over what happened. So currently, what happens is if you have your app on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, if you have a storefront in your app, that transaction has to go through the App Store first and then to you. So what that means is that Apple and Google will guarantee get their platform cut, which is I think 30% for both of them, I believe.
Yes.
Epic doesn't like that. So what Epic did was they updated Fortnite on mobile, which had a big update across everything, and they cut their costs for everything like 20% or something like that.
It was a decent amount.
Really big deal. So except the mobile versions, they also added a separate storefront in the game to provide their own unique storefront, so the pay would go directly to them and it would skip Apple and Google. Their app then got banned by both companies, Apple first, like pretty much immediately, and then Google was a little bit later, but both happened. And then Epic countered that with a lawsuit against them for monopolizing their platforms. So there's a couple things we need to break apart about this. First, we know Epic did this intentionally, because you don't have a 65-page lawsuit written up in an hour.
No, absolutely not.
So they knew what they were doing here. They were baiting them to go into they did something because they knew Apple would then have to act. They would have to ban their app, or they'd have to at least take some action against their app, and Epic would be able to then have that as a justification to counter this into the lawsuit. Same thing with Google. This is an interesting one, because to me, what I think is so interesting is there are people who are on very much both sides of this, where people are viewing Epic as a hero. Because Epic has this...
I guess it depends how you look at it.
So their lawsuit is very interesting because their wording is very emotionally driven and like very much like we're going to stand for the little guys. That's what Epic's argument is. And like basically what they're saying is that they want to have a more open free market for the little developers, for all developers equally, not just them. But they want to be able to have that. And they're doing that for both Apple and Google. At the other end of that, Apple and Google have made these things aware, you know what you're signing up for, and that's on you.
Well, that was going to be my thing. Like Google and Apple, any platform on a mobile or a gaming platform, right, has to make sure in your terms of agreement, especially in your contract, if you're going to sell on that platform, that you're using their platform. There is going to be a share cut because that uses their architecture to make sure that happens.
Right. We're going to get back to that because there is a point that I think Epic can stand on, but
Probably.
I think they haven't said this example, and I think they need to take it. So anyway, this is their quote exactly from Epic Games about Apple. Apple is bigger, more powerful, more entrenched, and more pernicious than monopolies of yesteryear. Apple's size and reach far exceeds that of any technology monopolist in history. They are very much going off of the fact that this is a monopoly. And that is key. If they can prove it is a monopoly, they win the lawsuit.
So I guess...
And they're not doing this for money, by the way. That is something to keep in mind, too. Epic is not looking for a financial compensation here. They are taking this financial hit now to probably open up their own storefront later, and if they win, and then make more money anyway. But they're not doing this for money right now, at least.
So I guess my question to you is, would you consider Apple a monopoly?
So here's the thing that I think that... Here's where I think Epic has a point, and I think this is where the key kind of comes in. So, in the current state, I want to say yes. I don't think that Apple and Google currently are in the right here. And my reason is not because I think Epic is the hero, which everyone seems to be pointing out, because I don't think they're fighting for the little guy necessarily. They're fighting for themselves, and the little guy happens to be involved.
Yeah.
Here's where my comparison comes in. Imagine you buy a Windows computer. Let's just even assume that computer is made by Microsoft, right? When you go on there, if you want to buy a video game, where do you buy it?
Steam.
Not Microsoft.
Nope.
Does Microsoft have a storefront that is built into their operating system?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to buy it through them?
Nope.
Microsoft did this a while ago. I think it was like the early 2000s, where they purposely made changes to their system to make outside internet browsers run worse than Internet Explorer.
I think I remember that.
They got sued for it because it monopolizes the market.
Wasn't that supposed to be... I might be thinking of something else.
Or what was it?
Didn't Vista do something like that?
I forget which one it was, but I forget exactly what it is. But it's under an antitrust law, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And you can have that problem happen and be sued for it, and Microsoft lost. So Microsoft now, they've created the platform that you host your stuff on, but they don't monopolize the marketplace on the platform that they've created because they can't. That is where I think Apple and Google are screwed. Apple creates the iPhone. So your iOS is your platform, but now they also monopolize where you can download the apps and pay for them, which is literally the Apple App Store and nothing else. Google does the same thing, mostly with the Play Store. It's an Android. You can break it, but it doesn't have all of the same features that an Apple Store. So actually, like Epic used to do this. You used to be able to download Fortnite outside the Epic Game Store, or outside the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
The problem is, the Android OS does not like it, and it notifies you things all the time, warns you of every security possibility that ever could happen. Updates don't go through as efficiently. There's a lot of problems, and that is what Epic is saying is part of the monopolization. They're actively making outside sources worse. And that is where you're now no longer creating a platform. You've created a platform, and you're actively making any competitor on your platform worse. And you cannot do that. So if Epic can take the Microsoft approach here and claim that Microsoft couldn't do it, and they were sued for it and lost. There's legal precedent for this. But Microsoft, the Windows operating system, when that is made, that platform exists, and there are multiple options for storefronts, including their own. Epic, there's GOG, there's Humble Bundle, there's Steam, and the Windows Store. All these exist. That is where I think Epic can win this. And I think they genuinely have a point here.
I think they have a point.
I think the way they did it makes them look like a hero. Like, oh, we were sued for this, or we were attacked for this thing. But they made this happen. They purposely broke the rule. Now, granted, they purposely broke the rule to prove it was a bad rule.
I think that's the only catch that I think. So here's the thing, right? I agree with what you're saying. I think my issue is the way they did it, or the way they went about proving that it's bullshit,
Right.
is gonna get them fucked.
I think that could be incriminating.
Because
You don't prove that thievery is wrong by robbing a store, right? Like, you don't do it.
well, that's like the whole gun debate. Like, you can't prove that the dude was a bad guy because he killed somebody, and then you kill him. It's like, see, it's bad, and you're like, no.
Right. There's I get what you mean.
But I think that's the only thing. Because the thing is, yeah, people can argue, yes, Android and Apple own those operating systems and own the Play stores, and could go as short-sighted as saying, well, they own them, so they have to follow their rules. You are absolutely right. However, Epic also has the right to challenge that.
Yes.
They just have to do it the right way.
also-
Now, I think it is absolutely hysterical how they did it.
Oh, I think so too.
I
The
think
whole
it's-
1980 Fortnite thing they showed about like, the spoof of the Apple, like, parodying Apple's thing.
I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
absolutely hilarious. And it is a huge... it's actually probably such a gargantuan kick in the balls to Google and Apple that they're probably sitting there like, what the fuck do we do now? Like...
Because they have to act on their rules. They've created that policy and they have to act on it. Or if they don't...
And that's
well, so they don't have to act on it. This is an interesting thing. So Epic makes an example, and I think this is a little bit different, but I don't know where I would call this, where the difference lies. If you download the Amazon app from the Apple Store and you make a purchase in the Amazon app, it goes directly to Amazon. Apple sees none of that money.
Now, is that because Amazon is paying them an outright charge
don't know.
for the platform?
We don't know.
That's the only reason I would see that happening, is if Apple, upon that contract, to get the straight payout, is paying Apple up front.
Right. Because let's make the thought experiment here. What is the real difference between, say, buying a digital good on Amazon versus buying a digital good in Fortnite?
There isn't.
There really isn't, fundamentally, right? Like, it's just...
Even if, like, you can, like, let's even connect the two. You can buy V-Bucks on Amazon.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what's the difference between doing that
Versus buying V-Bucks on Fortnite. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's what I mean. So, and here's the thing. I know, yeah, again, back to the point that you'd mentioned earlier, where, like, they've created this platform and they set the rules, and if you don't like the rules, you don't play on the platform. Well, that is true and only works if there's an alternative. One thing that we do have in our country, at least in America at least, in our society, is that we hate monopolies. They're stupid. They're bad.
suck.
We know they suck. And there's reason why there's legal precedent for, even if you have the monopoly and you set the rules and the rules are good, it's still bad, because if the rules go bad, there's no one to challenge you. And I think that's Epic's real point here. There is nothing that they or any other company could do to challenge it, even though they are creating the platform.
now.
It doesn't give them the right to then monopolize the entire thing, or the entire ecosystem on the platform.
Now, is it possible to say that I don't think Google can really take this route. Is it possible that Apple counters this and makes a deal saying that instead of launching through the Apple Store, that Fortnite will launch to the app, because they have the Apple Arcade? Is that something? No, because even the Apple Arcade.
The whole point, though, is they don't want to be forced to use the Apple Store anyway. That's the real crux of this. They think the fact that the only way to download apps legitimately and fully efficiently on the Apple iPhone, the fact that it has to be through the App Store, is the problem.
Fair enough.
That's where the real issue lies. And that's why I think the example of Microsoft is very interesting, because Microsoft has the Windows Store, and you're not required to use it to buy the games on there.
No.
And that's where I think Epic has a point. There's already a precedent set of this, and it's with the entirety of my PC.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I'm not sure how well this works with anything else, because I'm not sure how Sony acts with this with the PS4. Can you make a game launcher and a game retailing system application on the PS4 and sell games? I don't know. I just don't know if anyone's done it or if you can't do it. And if so, I wouldn't be surprised if people went for them.
It really wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Now, I guess it's a conversation for a different time. It doesn't really super tie into this, but yeah, I don't know. I think Epic has a stronger case than I think most people are giving them credit for.
Yeah,
I think people are so blinded by the fact that like, Epic's going after Google and Apple. Like I even said at the beginning, because like it is true.
huge.
If you really
That
think
is
about
huge.
it,
Yeah.
holy shit! I literally just filed a class action lawsuit against Apple and Google.
And the alternative too is people are viewing that, like I said, as an act of heroism. That like the small Epic games, because they don't even own the most successful game of all time currently active. They're not currently running that, so they're very small.
They're
Epic,
definitely not worth billions.
yeah. Epic is going after Google and Apple, which looks like an act of heroism. The little guy going after the two big guys, but I don't think that's the case either. I think, if I'm being honest, so my overview of the point of this thing here, Epic has a point. And I think they can genuinely win this. I think they genuinely have examples that they can point to.
If they 100% play it right.
Yeah, I think they have examples to point to that exist already that show why it's a good thing to have alternatives to an app store. Then I think they can win. I think the way they did it was funny as hell and hilarious, and I'm glad it happened so I can look back and laugh. But I think it was stupid. Like from a legal perspective and from an image perspective.
Yeah,
because you're going to have
thought is legality wise, like that.
Because there is a point where if you can incriminate yourself and get a case thrown because you made the first move and the first move was wrong.
Now, had they made just that video about Apple, that's not incriminating. That's just, you could just argue that
That's just parody and satire.
Yeah,
that part they can still do. It's the whole breaking the rule intentionally.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, they'd have to prove it wasn't intentional. And the fact that they did all this in a day,
it's 100% intentional.
you don't make all that in an hour. That's not how
they
that
had
works.
someone programming.
This is all ready. This is all ready to go. Literally we're waiting to get the ban. Ready to get the ban, make the statement, throw the lawsuit, hit the button. Like they were ready for this. That is where they may get things thrown at them.
Might get chunked.
Yeah. So that's it for me, Randy. What about you, buddy?
I'm good.
It's not that hot in this room today.
No, it's actually really nice out right now.
It's getting warm, but it's not that hot. Normally by the time we're done here, we're like an hour and 15 minutes
And my
in.
balls are stuck to the chair.
Yeah, it's pretty gross usually. I'm doing one of these like all the time. Like, it's gross.
That was a fart noise. I didn't intend that
I
to
don't
be
know
a
why I
fart
was
noise.
going there. Yeah. Anyway, but thank you very much for watching. Thank you for watching an episode of the Jerry Podcast. We're doing this in the morning today, which is weird. I can tell I'm more tired than normal. I'm more tired now than I am at like 11 p.m. or something when we do this sometimes.
I don't know. Typically when we do it late, I'm the one.
It's usually you. Yeah, we're flipped right now. I'm the one getting tired, and you're over there like actually full of energy. And I even had a coffee. I even had Star Fox coffee come to you. What did I say? If you
I don't remember. If you're feeling the zing, something R-wing.
grab the R-wing. I don't remember what I said. It was dumb, probably.
So stupid.
It was so... Don't give a toss, Uncle Andros. The tequila, bro. Anyway, thank you so much for watching another episode of the Jerry Podcast. I'm really glad you came.
Bye-bye.
Later, bro. Randy, kiss the mic. I'm glad we can end on that.